Well, let's speak to a company now helping South Africans go off the grid or work towards that, looking for power from the sun. Wetility is a solar energy solution provider offering an alternative financing model. We're joined by the CEO of Wetility, Vincent Maposa. Mr. Maposa, thank you for being with us. Many people want solar, of course, but we heard there alternatives are expensive. So you offer a way to pay it off. How does it work?
Thank you, Francis. Thank you for having me on the show, and thank you to your viewers. We offer a solution known as a lease to own, where a customer can get a system for a period of time and they pay an amount on a monthly basis, which is very similar to a cell phone contract or a DSTV subscription. This allows the customer to have uninterrupted power, as well as to save on the electricity bills because of the subsidization of energy consumption and the subsidization of cost. So you can get a solar system from us from as little as 1,350 Rand per month. And it's scalable. It's one where you can increase the battery capacity. You can also increase the amount of solar panels in order for us to at least allow our customers to go through various stages of load shedding.
Thank you for giving me an idea of monthly fees. I was going to ask you that. What can you get for 1,300 Rand?
For 1,350 Rand, you can get a hybrid battery storage system, which we produce, called the PACE, which is your inverter, all the switchgear that accompanies that, as well as 2 lithium-ion batteries that give you about 7 kilowatt hours of capacity. And then that's a solar-ready solution. If you add about 300 Rands to that price, you can get 6 solar panels to accompany that. And the systems are modular and scalable, so you can go up to about 16 panels for a single-phase home. You can go up to 32 panels for a 3-phase home. And you can also increase the battery capacity quite significantly, right up to 28 kilowatt hours. What does that power? It basically allows all your essential loads to be powered during load shedding. And when there isn't load shedding, power is supplied to all your appliances in a manner where the solar and the battery are the first priority, and the grid is, the third in the priority list. And the customer is able to save quite a bit of money on electricity and also remain with power during load shedding.
To push the point and give us an idea, so 1,350 Rand, how does that sort of save you, and for how long in stage 6 load shedding?
Our systems are designed to provide at a minimum up to 8 hours of power during load shedding. And what we've done, as well as a technology company, is also included smart technology that allows for us to manage the battery on behalf of the customers, to make sure that they don't go through any period, because what happens is you get to stage 6 or various stages of load shedding, the time period between load shedding events for the customer are compressed. So what we've also built is technology called Smart Mode, which allows the customer to at least have power during all those intervals, or at least all those occurrences of load shedding. And it's designed for a minimum of up to 8 hours of power availability, and that's how it operates.
Yeah. All right, then can you give us a sense of overall cost? I mean, we know that there's a concern when you pay things off, you're paying interest. What are your interest rates? How do those compare to prime, for example? Is this really ethical? Because we know many South Africans are vulnerable right now. We saw what happened during COVID-19. So is it a good deal?
It's a good deal in the sense that, firstly, it's not an installment sale from our side. It's a lease to own. So we don't necessarily levy interest. But when we look at the amount that you pay over the life of the lease or over the life of the system, the customer is better off because of the subsidization from a cost-saving perspective. Even from an annual escalations perspective, we try to be lower than what you will be receiving from the electricity utility, and to be as close as possible to inflation. And that allows the customer to have some breathing room. For us as a business, one of our core values is to deliver energy independence to as many homeowners and small businesses as possible. And there are over 350 million Southern Africans who are currently facing various stages of energy poverty. As you know, that South Africa is probably the primary source of energy supply across Southern Africa due to the interconnectedness of our grid. So from a philosophy perspective, we do intend to save customers quite a bit of money from an overall energy spend perspective, but also allow them to continue to run their businesses and to continue to run their households whenever there's load shedding.
Okay, so just to be transparent, we understand that you have to make money, right? And this is your model.
Absolutely.
But how much more would I pay if I was a customer over the course of the contract compared to buying it upfront? Are we looking at 200% more, 300% more? Can you give us any idea?
Unfortunately, we can't give you the exact statistics around that, but it's not significantly more. So if you look at, say, a prime interest rate of around 10%, we're probably looking at, making a couple hundred basis points in addition to that, just to make sure that we're able to provide a service which always stays on. So there's an operational maintenance contract as well as things such as 24/7 remote monitoring, which allow the customer to remain powered up. So those things obviously are quite costly. We're also a technology company. But if you look at it from the principal's perspective, what we intend to do is, while remaining viable as a business, to also lower the overall cost. So what we do as a thing as well is, when you want to buy the system outright from us, you buy it at replacement cost, as opposed to buying it at what is the receivable from the lease. And what that allows us is to ride the technology and the cost curve on improving technology. So if you look at battery technologies a few years ago, you're looking at, say, $300 or about, 40,000, US dollars per kilowatt hour. And that's come down significantly to well under $200 per kilowatt hour. And what we do is we pass on a portion of that benefit to our customers. So as we continue to increase our fleet of systems, that benefit will inherently be passed on to as many customers as possible.
All right, and I'm sure there's a lot of interest in this. How many homes are you in? I see there was a target to reach 1 million in 10 years, I think.
Yes, there's a target to reach 1 million. So what we can say is we have close to 10 megawatts of homes currently under solar. So if we look at that as an average of about 5 kilowatts, that's the total size of it. So the homes cut across both single dweller units, which is just your standalone residential homes, as well as your multi-dweller units, which is apartments. So if we're looking at numbers, it's over 500 homes that we're currently in.
All right. And the issue with solar, I mean, everybody loves the idea, but then it's often said, but what when the sun doesn't shine?
Exactly, and that's a big concern as well. And we witnessed a bit of that, particularly during the December period. If you were in Gauteng, there was quite a lot of rainfall and quite a lot of cloud cover. And that's why we introduced a mode for our inverters called Smart Mode, where despite the fact there is cloud cover, there is still some irradiation that the panels actually get, and they're able to produce some energy, which is then stored in your battery. So what it is really is about optimization and making sure that whenever there's cloud cover or wherever there's inclement weather, we're able to ensure that the batteries are fully charged. In addition to that, we also offer the opportunity to charge your batteries using power from the electricity grid when it's available, although at significant cost. And we typically ask our customers for consent to do that before we actually initiate that as a thing. And ultimately, it's about making sure that power is uninterrupted. So inclement weather will always be there, but we also mitigate that by making sure we invest significantly in technology that allows for that to take place.
My final question, Mr. Maposa, this is a crisis that is good for your company, presumably. You are making money, but as an investor, as somebody invested in the future of South Africa, I'm sure you are worried still about the incredible levels of load shedding right now.
We're deeply worried about it, and we view our business as an enabler for the entire system. And that's why our philosophy is hybrid, as opposed to trying to completely take every single customer that we can access off the grid. The primary reason for that is we still do need a power grid. We need a stable base load to allow rapid industrialization, also cost optimization across the entire value chain. So we view our participation in the market as vital to ensuring that the entire system is hybrid, as well as to advance a more fair and just model for energy consumption in the future, which looks at multiple sources, looks at multiple costs associated with those sources, and optimizes for what is achievable and what is optimal for the consumer at the very end.
All right. Final question, if I can throw it in. You are still talking about a proportion of South Africans who can afford, say, 1,300 Rand a month. Do you think we will move towards alternatives for people in townships?
Absolutely. So for us as a technology company, one of the things that we are always consistently looking at is research and development opportunities to introduce products that are sustainable at a lower cost. And we'll be introducing one of our own in the next couple of months. The important thing is we look at energy independence as an across-the-board thing. It's not supposed to be for the affluent. It's not supposed to be for the ones that can only afford it. So what we have invested in, and what a lot of other companies in our space are investing in, is how do we make this commonplace and how do we make it affordable, given the fact that we're dealing with customers where the share of wallet is a critical thing. Customers are also quite constrained. Some of them are heavily indebted, and we don't want to contribute towards the indebtedness. And that's why we look at overall consumption and overall cost of that consumption of energy. But ultimately, the important thing is crossing that particular path and at least getting to the other side of the customer journey, where you have customers who may not be able to afford 1,350 and introducing products that match their budgets, that match their affordability, and also deliver sufficient power for them to remain powered up and productive within their spaces. So that's something that we're deeply passionate about. We've invested quite a lot of resources into it. We have the support of a variety of stakeholders across both, private sector and public sector to initiate and introduce those kinds of products.
All right, well, we look forward to seeing what comes out of that. Thank you very much, CEO of Wetility, Vincent Maposa.